edit it out later. So let's just sit for a second, say hello. Come on in. Okay. So thank you guys for jumping in for the restorative practice. This is great. So this is the basic training, day number 2. So we're going to review what we did on day number 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to review it learning some restorative sequences. So as I'm reviewing, I'll actually apply them to different ways of working with the body. So it's a combination of aerial yoga play, which has a little bit of aerial, but it's more suspension training and therapeutics. And then lots of yoga translations, so poses that people are familiar with, but bringing them more upliftment, create more freedom to go deeper into back bends and inversions. And then play, lots of exploration, lots of ability to just experience the body in a new way. So that's how the aerial yoga play came about. So aerial yoga got popular in the meantime when I was doing aerial yoga play, so I like to just kind of distinguish between the circus arts and what we're doing with therapeutics and suspension training. So what I'm creating for this coming winter is a second manual that's called AYRX, A-Y-R-X, so Aerial Yoga RX. So what we're doing with the restorative practice is taking some of the poses we learned and applying them to parts of the body, to particular injuries, to individual needs. So that way we make the swing accessible for all levels. And that's really what I want, is for people who feel like they couldn't do something like this to get really comfortable and familiar with what it would be like to be suspended, to hang, to get the support to go deeper into some of the practices, like that they wouldn't do a headstand for 10 minutes. Like that would put too much strain on their neck and shoulders and actually create injuries instead of help them activate the pineal gland and do some work with the master cell, which is really what the headstand is for, which we get into in more advanced training. So we'll keep it pretty simple today. So we're all on the last page, right? So it says restorative and it says lounging. Okay, great. So let's get into the swing. We're just going to do a really sweet warm-up. I'll actually do a review just so you guys can get familiar with how to introduce the swing in a training session if you were teaching a class. So we have the daisy chains, these black things with the red notches. So go ahead and follow along with me, that's great. They're hanging from the ropes, just extending from the ceiling. We can also install the daisy chains into any ceiling using eye hooks. So 2 eye hooks into any supported beam through whatever drywall or plaster will work for any ceiling. So there's supported beams in every ceiling that can hold thousands of pounds. And since we're not doing big vertical drops like circus arts, this weight is distributed over 3 feet with a double point system, and it's a maximum for 500 pounds. So plenty strong. Every ceiling is plenty strong to hold that amount. And very rarely do we get a 500-pound person in the swing. We just make it extra strong, and we only do 1 person at a time. So never 2 people, even though it's very tempting. 1 person at a time in the swing. We have the hand holds attached to carabiners. Now the carabiners are the only things that I buy from Black Diamond. I make everything else. So carabiners are official climbing. They can hold thousands of pounds, although unnecessary. I just think they're pretty. I like the colors. Some have blue, some have silver, some have gold. And then we all have 2 handholds, 2 leg loops, and the main swing that we're going to be incorporating. So this is the lounging sequence. Okay, so we're going to get in front of the swing, put it behind our back. And the first thing we do is raise our arms and put it underneath the armpits, right behind the heart. So we pull it down slightly. Okay? So that way when we sit down, we're going to lean back, sit down, and come into a sumo squat. We kind of lock it in with our arms. It will want to ride up, and we just pull down against it and learn how to engage the lats. But the hips are hanging. So that's the part that we're going to have to really get used to, is how to hang the hips and be comfortable with that position. Okay, so let's just sway from side to side a little bit. Again, wearing a t-shirt or something with a little bit of material will help the skin get used to that pressure. But of course, doing this for 3 to 6 days in a row, you're going to feel those parts of the body in the soreness. So hanging completely so we can traction the spine out of the pelvis. The more that we traction the spine out of the pelvis, the more space we get in between the vertebrae, the more that naturally starts to heal some of the injuries in the lower back. Also the upper thoracics initiating the arching in the back bend and relieving Neck and shoulders should be completely relaxed in this position. If we slide in and we're like this, I call it the scarecrow, not so great feeling, right? So whenever you see somebody like that, and plus then my hips drop below my knees, which is no bueno, we ask them to come up, put the swing a little further down, lock in, and then shrug the shoulders down. So the back of the body is engaged. Very good. Okay, so in this lounging sequence, now that we're getting familiar, I'm just going to sway from side to side. I call this sumo squat. We're going to take both hands. We always stay wrapped around the swing, so we hug the swing. Grab for one leg with both hands. So I'll just start on the left. We're going to put it behind the knee. Okay, so that's one leg. We let ourselves float, second side, both hands grab. Put it behind the knee, second leg. This pose in itself is called chillaxin. So in chillaxin pose, that's really good. You're working, hips are really heavy, so let yourself just sink down. But then press the back of the heart into the swing so you can lift and support the hands. Support the head with the hands. Beautiful. So we're going to gently just rock from side to side. Let chillaxin just happen. So this is used to create a supported back bend position. You'll notice it's a mini back bend, not too much, but just enough that we can relax into it and mobilize the upper thoracic spine. So lower back is long, lumbar spine is relaxed, and then when we get right behind the heart, the upper thoracics, that's where we're starting to arch and initiate. Also notice with the hands clasping, the neck should be completely relaxed. So no part of the body is really working in this pose. Elbows are flared out wide. Drop the hips even more if you can. So if we push the hips up, then we're squeezing and compressing the lumbar spine. If you keep the hips really heavy, we're getting that length and that space in the lower vertebrae. Yeah, good. And then the gentle rocking swing motion from side to side is going to start to loosen up the connective tissue, especially along the band of the waist, where we get the love handles, where we get the congestion between the top of the hip and the bottom of the ribs. So just let all that space happen. Let there be more room to sway from side to side, just letting the fascia, the connective tissue, start to lengthen. Really good. So maybe you can lean back and so your eyes, your face is pointing up towards the sky a little bit more. There you go. Perfect. So easy breezy, I call it. We just make it as chill and as smooth, as relaxed, and as restorative as possible. That way, any level can do it. I've had 80-year-old men who've never done yoga come into the swing like this and be surprised that they can do it, right? So when we get into the lounging, we're first going to open up a little bit and do a little bit of flow. So we're going to come back to neutral. Inhale, open up the arms wide. Exhale, reach forward, grab for the leg loops. So warming up the hips, right? So the swing is here. The leg loops are in front of you. Now we reach up as high as we can. We first just exhale and squeeze all the air out of the belly. Tuck in, like you're looking towards your navel. So this is a floating child. Now when we inhale, we're going to start to open up the hips. Press forward, do a bicep curl. Ooh la la, right? You immediately feel the hips. And then you exhale, sink back down, squeeze again. Round in. Inhale, open, pull. Yeah, so the arms are engaged. Hips start to open. You really feel, the more we push forward, how the inner groin, yeah, everyone's like, ah, start singing opera. Exhale, sit back down and squeeze. So like a little spoon, like a metal spoon, we're bending back and forth. Opening up slowly. Inhale, open and press. Really good. Last time, exhale, come down and squeeze. Just in general, it's nice to know that if you wear pants or something down past the knees, it feels a little bit better than directly on the skin itself. It's just a little hint. Okay? Exhale, squeeze. So now to come into lounging. So that's our warm-up. Just come into supported back bend again. Just open up the arms wide, shake them out. Call those jazz hands, right? Do little jazz hands. Stretch overhead. And now we're going to come back in. So exhale, sit back down. So I want to fix your leg loops. I just have to bring that one up for you, Bob. You're good. Everyone else looks good. It's because this is the first time we're testing out that swing. Just with the difference in height with, so you can stay seated. Just bring this one out for me. And let me adjust it. Well, I'm going to adjust this one a little bit higher and see if it looks better. Just so your knees are even. Let's try it again. We can bring them up or down. That's okay. Does that feel a little bit more even to you? What do you think? So now that one's a little bit higher.
Yeah, now it's a little...
Okay, bring it back out. Let's try one more thing. So I have all these little tricks because I always hang them from trees.
So you're saying one was uneven?
Well, it just looked like your knee was higher.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's most likely somebody's body. So that's a little bit better, but there's something happening in this hip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do.
So this is the swing is truth serum.
Yeah.
So I can see everything that's happening in people's bodies. You remember me saying this to you yesterday? So I can see where the shoulders are up and where the hips are up. So sometimes until the hip releases, I'll move the leg loop so it's even. But it's okay. We can leave it like that too. Now that I brought attention to it, it's a little bit more even.
I got what you're saying.
So what you want to do is just allow that right hip to drop down even more. There we go. As long as